Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know that song, you know what it means. That means it is the weekend, and it is time for the James Freel Show. I'm your host, James Freel, and as always, I am very happy to have you with me. I'm just trying to keep the energy a little more upbeat. I'm in a good mood right now, and I'm excited to do this show. I think we have a pretty decent show ready for you today. I've been kind of my show's been sort of like the stock market lately. Oh boy. Okay, all right. Let's get back into reality. As always, yes, this is the James Freel Show, and I am very happy to have you along for this episode on today, December 7th, 2018. It's currently 7:58, and I'm ready to record my podcast. Just got to fill out the time in the song to make sure that I don't jump straight into the news segment when there's still music going. But, yes, it is the case. I'm doing this bootleg style again. No big deal. Sometimes it feels a little more organic when I do it that way. But, I believe next week will also be a bootleg. And then I think after that, let me check the calendar really quick. So, what do we got here? So this is the 7th. I'm working that tomorrow. Yes, so next week will be a bootleg, but the following week will be in studio again. And by in studio, I mean using a real microphone and my laptop to get it going and listening to it. That will be the Christmas episode. And, I'm still kind of regretting that when I did my Thanksgiving Day episode, I didn't find a way to get turkeys on there. Because for the Halloween episode, I did have the jack-o'-lanterns on there, and I got to talk about what I did for that Halloween. If I really want to find it, I can always look at the dates that they were uploaded, and I'm definitely going to make an effort to try to put the Christmas stuff up on it, even though that means, I'll have 2 out of 3, and Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, and it's past. But anyway, let's before we get into the rambling, let's go on to... You know it as News for the Uninformed. And I still am looking for a new name for it, because I don't think that that's the best. It rubs shoulders too closely with other shows that I don't care to associate with. All right, our top story, and this was just breaking about 2 hours ago. Ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen should get a substantial prison term, feds say. Well, if the feds are saying it, it must be true. I don't know. I guess they know what they're doing. That's not the kind of thing that gets politicized. I don't know. That's why it's called News for the Uninformed. That's one thing I've kind of liked about this show is that I've started to put less attention towards the top story because it's sports and pop culture. That's more in my ballpark. That's more what I ascribe to, more that I'm informed on, and yet this is still called News for the Uninformed. In sports, Chicago Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky is cleared to return from a shoulder injury. He will return from a 2-game hiatus due to a right shoulder injury after a Sunday night and start in Sunday night games against the Los Angeles Rams. That'll be a good one. And, you all know I'm a Bengals fan, but you have to do a lot for me to dislike you as a team a lot. I'd actually say I once sat down and I ranked all the NFL teams to how much I like them to how much I dislike them. And Chicago Bears are pretty high up there with teams that I like. I know my favorite, obviously, is the Bengals. And the thing is, they're number 1, and the rest are not even close. If you were to add up all of the affection I have for the other 31 teams, you would not even get a percentage of the Bengals. So you get the one, and then the very distant next one, you got the Cowboys, and then you got the Indianapolis Colts after that. Those are my 3 teams I like to see winning. I wouldn't say 3. I'd say I like seeing the Bengals winning. And then after that, I'd pick those teams in order. But Chicago Bears, I mean, they're probably in the top 5. I mean, they remind me of the 80s, and they got so much history. Like, the 3 teams that I really despise are Steelers, number 1. They are the Nazis of football for me. I can't stand them just because they're so successful. They're in our division, and they have more Super Bowls than any other team. In my opinion, it's been the dark times ever since they won their 6th Super Bowl, and it will continue to be the dark times until another team either ties them or takes over. And that's why I'm counting on the 49ers, the Patriots, or the Cowboys. Preferably the Cowboys. I would love to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. Anyway, I kind of rambled that too much during the sports section. And now, on to pop culture. All right, what do we got here? Kevin Hart, comedian Kevin Hart, was selected to host the Oscars this year, but has since been removed due to controversial tweets he made over a decade ago. Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of Kevin Hart. I'm not touching the opinion on this, as I always say. I try to remain indifferent towards controversial issues because, hey, I'm trying to get some listeners here. So, that is this week's episode of News for the Uninformed. Let's move on to the rambling section. And I have a lot to talk about, and what I worry about is that I'm going to say them, and I'm going to realize I have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to wind up trying to speed through them to make sure I get it all in. So, let's see, especially because I didn't write any of this down. I'm trying to go on the fly. But let's start out talking about fantasy football, because I already talked about sports. Let me get the sports out of the way. If there's anyone out there listening who doesn't care about sports, this is not a sports podcast. It's one that I run, and I happen to like sports a lot. So that's all I'm talking about. So, fantasy football, this is my first year playing it, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. And by sheer luck, it looks like I'm going to make the playoffs. And there are 10 people in the league I'm playing. I'll get to that part in a second, but there are 10 people in it. The top 4 teams get into the playoffs. All right, and let's go down my roster really quick. At quarterback, I have 2 solid quarterbacks, and I'm kind of debating who I should start this week. But I have Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson. Oh, Luck's numbers have gone down, so I think I'm going to definitely stick with Wilson. I got Brandon Cooks, or B. Cooks, I'm not sure, from the Los Angeles Rams. I got Stephon Diggs, who is questionable. Ezekiel Elliott, Jay White from New England, Joe Mixon, and I'm waiting to sign someone from the Chicago Bears at tight end. So that's going to be my starting lineup. If I win, I'm in, and if I lose, I still have a very good chance of being in because I'll be tied with 3 people. And it goes by the tiebreakers, how many points you've had. And I have the second most points in the entire league. And this is by sheer luck. Everyone else, except 3 other people in the league, auto-drafted. And I was picking based on players I liked. And at the beginning of the year, I had Shark, I can't pronounce his name, the stud running back from the Giants, Barkley. I had him, and I had Tom Brady at QB. And this other guy had Russell Wilson and Ezekiel Elliott. And I told him he really wanted Tom Brady for Russell Wilson. And I wasn't having it. But I wanted Ezekiel Elliott. So I said, all right, I'll trade you Barkley and Tom Brady for Russell Wilson and Ezekiel Elliott. Also because, I like seeing the Cowboys do well. So it makes it more fun to root for the Cowboys. So it just so happened today at work, that guy who I made that trade with came in. And I just wanted to tell him, hey, he's also pretty much for sure going to be in the playoffs. And I told him, looks like you're going to be in the playoffs also. He's like, oh. And I was explaining to him how, so because there's 10 of us, and I put in $10, I'm guessing everyone put in $10. And so if I win, I get $100. And I've already decided I'm going to be totally irresponsible with that money if I receive it. It's just, I've been very good with money lately. I've been tight with it. I'm trying to save for a wedding. I got student loans I want to pay for. Just got to get into the habit of being thrifty when I finally land my career, because right now I'm still a co-op. But, so I do that, and he's like, huh, $10? And I'm like, yeah, we all put in $10. He's like, you did. Looks like we're all playing for $10. And I'm like, what? And he walks out laughing, and then another coworker walks in. He's like, "Yeah, James, I heard you just got scammed." And so, let's call him Dan. Dan calls Jake. Jake's the guy running the league. Dan calls Jake up, and well, Dan is saying like, "I'm pretty sure I did put in $10. I don't know." And he gets Jake up on the speakerphone, and he's like, "Hey, man, did I pay my $10?" And he's like, "No, the only people who paid their fees were the co-ops. And there are 4 of us who are in it." And he's like, "I remember because all the co-ops paid in front of you, and I was giving you the eye that it's your turn to pay." And here's the thing. There's no way, only 4 of the 6 league members went to pay, and a bunch of them are totally eliminated from the playoffs. There's no way they're going to put in their $10. So I am not hopeful that, because I have a chance of winning. I mean, let's look at the league. My name is Houday and the Blowfish. I thought it was kind of clever. The top guy, he's 11-2, and then the next 2 guys are 8-5, and then I am 7-6. So yeah, the good thing is that even if I lose, well, if I lose and he wins, then I'll be 7-7. And Hill, wasted space, will be... Oh, so I need him to win. Well, if I lose, I need him to lose. Because if I lose and he wins... Oh, then... No, if I lose... Hold on. I'm 7-6. He's 6-7. Is he playing Big Mac's team? I think he's projected to win that game. So if I lose and he loses, okay, then I could be in some trouble. Oh yeah, then I'm out because his guy will be 8 and yeah. So I need him to win if I'm going to stay into this. Sorry, that math there was kind of asinine to listen to. Things just got a little more scary here. I just need to win. If I win, I'm in because I have a ton of points. So let's hope all my players show up. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see. I'll keep you updated next week to see whether I'm in or not. But yeah, if I win that and I just get it, to me it'll be like free money. I probably shouldn't have put $10 in the first place, but it's a nice office bonding experience. So, there's that. And Jake, the guy's running it, he's a great guy. And he said he's going to redo the league next year. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to keep playing because I've been telling myself since high school that I'm going to do a fantasy football league. And I think I got a little bit spoiled because by sheer luck, I wound up doing relatively well. I mean, 7-6 isn't horrible. I just need to win. That's all that comes down to. So, I did try to convince one of my coworkers if he would be willing to collude with me. Because I said, all right, man, here's what you do. Give me all your good players. I'll trade them, and when I win, we split the money 50-50, literally, because it's $100. And he's like, dude, I've tried that before. It doesn't work. People see the transaction, and they get mad, and they say they're not playing anymore. And in all fairness, he is 100% right. I would be so mad if other people were doing that to try to out-scam, to work the system. But it just sort of felt kind of thrilling to, like, be corrupt. Alright, but anyway, this week I'm actually going into work. I did last week. I went in on a Saturday. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I'm doing that again tomorrow and next week, and hence why I will be doing the bootleg version again next week. I gotta say, working on a Saturday, it's really not that bad. What does suck about it, it's not the Saturday, it's the Monday, where you go back in and it's like, oh man, I only had one break from this place. I only had a 1-day break. And it is odd that it's technically a Friday right now, and it actually does feel like a Friday. It really does. Another great thing about it is the place that I work has a shuttle system for employees because it's a very condensed area and parking is very limited. But on weekends, I can park wherever I want. So I can park extremely close to the lot and everything. So that's a positive. That is a positive aspect of it. Oh, jeez, I just got all paranoid about where's my badge? Where did I put it? Where is everything? It's out there. I wouldn't have been able to leave without it. So, I think that's all I have to say about work. Yeah, the fantasy football thing. Okay, so here's the next thing is so I'm very excited about this week because there is a community choir that I play with. And you know what? Am I going to go ahead and say the name of it? I mean, I'm in Cincinnati, but nah, I'm not going to say it because you can't put that genie back in the bottle once it's on the internet. But I get to play electric bass for a community choir, and they actually pay me to do it, which is great. I'm kind of surprised that they do. I don't think they should because I am not that good. But I did a good job when I was in 7th grade of establishing myself as a bass player. And I even remember thinking that consciously, like, hey, if I establish it now in the future, I'll get to play with other people. And that's actually a role that I kind of did fight for. I kind of pushed for it. I auditioned for my junior high jazz band on bass guitar in 8th grade, and I remember there was some competition, but the competition wound up dropping out, so I got to take over. And what's funny is the person whose role I took, I actually wound up playing in a band with him. Oh man, it wouldn't have been 10 years later. See, that was 2000. He would have been in 2006, 2007, and I wound up playing in a group with him in 2013 to 2014. So that's an odd little thing. Yeah, and I think he's like doing that as his day job, as his full-time thing. And last I checked, at one point he was working retail in one of those music shops that wasn't quite Guitar Center, but one of those regional music vendors. Where was I going with this? So yes, I get to play bass for it. I'm also playing percussion. Anyway. That really threw off my vibe. So. She's really did throw off. I've had good energy going. Let's power down. We're in the middle of a workout here, and I'm pushing forward, and I just had my heartbeat dropped a little bit, and it's like, no, you got to keep going. You got to keep going because you're doing well. You're doing awesome. So we were talking about playing bass for this community choir. It's all Christmas themed, and I play with them twice a year. And it's fun because the first half of the year, they play all this fun music. The second half of the year, it's all Christmas music. And it's a really fun... They do a lot of crowd-pleasing songs, but they also do a lot of songs that they want to expand as a choir and really push themselves to grow with. And it's run by an amazing director, and my soon-to-be wife and I agreed that we're going to ask her to officiate our wedding, because I had her as a choir teacher in high school, only freshman year. But when she asked about it, and she volunteered to do it. So we're just hoping for an enthusiastic yes. If we can, tomorrow we're going to try to find her, pin her down, and just say, hey, really quick, I know you're busy. I know the show's almost over. I mean, it is over. If I could just have 2 minutes of your time. This is what... I know you mentioned that you do weddings. We talked about it, and we would love to have you as our officiant. And then I don't know where we go from there. We just tell her, like, hey, I guess we'll meet up at some point beforehand so we can discuss the details. Yeah. It'll go well. I mean, I shouldn't be nervous because she already volunteered. And what I have noticed is that when people can do weddings, they want to do weddings. And one of the reasons, I always saw myself being married by a salt and peppered old man, with salt and pepper hair. That's what I meant by that. And but this one woman, just because I've known her for so long, and I don't know her very well. But she has her own holiday in this town. She's very talented, and we both think she's going to be an amazing public speaker. So I think we'll be happy with having her as our officiant. I just hope it doesn't totally catch her off guard that we want to have her do it. So that's that. So having rehearsal for these requires me going back to where I went to high school. And it just so happens that this year for the choir concert, They had a full band, and in that band, they got some people who I went to high school with. And that's the final topic I'm going to talk about. It's running into old people you haven't seen from high school in a while. And I did this about 2 or 3 months back, I believe, when I talked about how I recorded Dungeons and Dragons. And, I think I'm going to wind up being the exact kind of person I'm talking about. Those people were fun because they didn't, like... I'm trying to find the best way to say they were fun. I'm trying not to say because they're not successful, because that's not true at all. If I were to say that, that wouldn't be true. But they aren't the kind of people who, right when they meet you, will ask, "Oh, what are you up to? What are you doing now?" And the people who are at the choir, who were in the band, who I was kind of trying to avoid because, I don't have a whole lot to say, but my thing is I don't want to make it weird because we're both there. And if we don't talk, both of you will probably wind up thinking that you were ignoring each other. So I found the best method is to just walk by and give an enthusiastic, "Hey, how are you?" Don't stop acting like, do it while you're kind of busy doing something so that you don't get stuck talking to them. But I will say, when I met these people, the first thing that they said to me was, well, first off, they did the, "Hey, how are you? How's it been?" And they asked, "So what are you doing?" And in my book, that's their way of asking, all right, what's this guy doing? How much respect does this person deserve? I'm going to judge the merits of this person based on what they're doing. And I was saying that to my special lady friend, and she actually kind of disagreed with it. She thinks that people ask that because they want you to ask back what they're up to, and they want to talk about it. And I think both can be true at once. They're in no way exclusive. But the best approach I did is I just gave them the name of the place I worked. If they really cared, if they really wanted to know, because I work at a hospital, and when I said the name, I'm working at this hospital. There's a million things you can do at a hospital, and they didn't bother to ask. So that tells me that I kept it vague because I don't feel like explaining it. And also I think they probably know via social media that at one point I was aspiring to go to law school, and I got in, and they'll probably be like, "Oh, what are you in? Why aren't you in law school?" And the more I talk this out, and I hope I don't sound like a douchebag right now, the more I talk about this, I think I actually do. But, yeah, in the end, it was a pleasant conversation. I felt a little uncomfortable because here's the truth. Both of these people are very successful. They are now. And I'd be lying if I said I'm not somewhat jealous of their success, but at the same time, I'm very fortunate to be born with the abilities and the work ethic that I'm able to soon, in less than a year, have a career that I can be proud of and that I can provide with. So that's what I'm going to say about that subject. Oh, geez, 23 minutes. I think that was a pretty decent rant. I think that was one of my better rants. And, the more I do it, this bootleg version, the better I think I'm getting at the show. It is fun to sit down, but when you think about it, the sit-down method is normally done because it was technological restraints. You couldn't walk around doing a radio show. You want the perfect amount of space. And this... there are a lot of mirrors in the room I'm in, and I'm just walking around, and I kind of look like I have a microphone, and I'm on stand-up and whatever. But, so yeah, today's Friday, and this evening, my special lady and I went to Target first to just walk around. They got a good deal on beer there. I have never seen Miller High Life at they think it's only $5 for a 6-pack. I'm like, that's a good deal. I would have gotten the 12-pack for $8, but we don't exactly have the real estate available in the refrigerator. So that was pleasant. And then afterwards, we'd been planning all week to go we wanted to get a pizza. And we kept saying, well, we're going to have this pizza party, just a cute little idea. And so we find a Little Caesars because we're like, hey, cheap date night, let's go there. You can get a pizza there for like a little under $6. We do that, and I walk up to the takeout lobby, and it is jam-packed. People are butt to gut. People are looking for places to sit. It's very thin. I feel extremely claustrophobic. And even with it being as crammed as it is, there are these kids running around with a bouncy ball. And I just look and make eye contact, and I'm like, this ain't happening. There's no way I'm walking in. It's a Friday night. It's dark out. It's stressful. This is just not going to happen. Okay, it's just the way it is. It's not happening. And so I get back to the car, and I tell my special lady that, it's just we got to find somewhere else. We got to find something else to eat. It's not going to work. And then we realize we're starting to discuss, okay, maybe we can do Pizza Hut or something. You know, yeah, it's not that healthy for you, but hey, live a little. And it's cheap and it's fun, and this is America, and I love America. And I tell her, and then I realize they have a drive-thru here. We can do the drive-thru. And we hop in. There's 2 cars. We haven't seen them move yet, but the first one moves. We're behind them. And suddenly, the way this drive-thru was set up is they had a curb. You know those things they'll have in parking lots to keep cars from parking too far to stop their wheels? They had that as a curvy path, the whole place. So once you were in, the only way you could get out is to back up. And if someone got behind you and there's someone in front of you, you're stuck. And we had to fully commit when someone got behind us. And it turned out there was this huge line behind us at one point. And so we're like, well, we're committed. And it really wasn't that bad because I hate how dark it's getting so soon. It's like 6:30 and it's pitch black out, and that stresses me out because it's just as traffic is just as congested. And it was just like last week when I got my oil changed and it was dark out and it took forever. And this last week I also got my haircut, but and that had like a 90-minute wait, and I wound up getting a few coupons. I'm trying to cram everything in because I didn't take my advice from the beginning of the show where I thought I'd fly on by it really fast, and I wound up taking too long with a lot of stuff. So now I just wasted more time explaining that. Anyway, so we get up there. We wanted one pizza, and we wanted they got this dessert thing called cinnamon bites. And we order them, and I say to the lady what our order is, and I hear her yell back, all right, I need an order of cinnamon bites. And I hear from the background someone say, we're out of cinnamon bites. And as I say that, as that's being said in the background, the person through the drive-thru is staring at me like we were making eye contact as we heard, we already have we're all out of cinnamon bites, sorry about that. And she basically gave this look like, do you need me to tell you or did you hear it? And I'm not going to give her crap for it because, you know, when I was in customer service, I would be doing the same thing. I don't want to have to repeat bad news. I don't want to get a bad reaction out of you. But so that was that. And then all of a sudden, we're waiting. It's a pretty long wait, probably about 15 minutes. And in a drive-thru, that can feel like a long time. But about halfway through, that same lady, she was probably like maybe I'd say maybe 18, between 18 and 22. Maybe younger, maybe between 16 and 20. And she came out and said, for your inconveniences, I found some cinnamon bites, and we'll just give them to you. You don't have to pay for them. And we were in a great mood, my lady and I. We had a great evening. And that just made it even better. And I hope she didn't feel like we were in a bad mood because, I mean, we're just kind of giddy because I haven't seen her since Monday. It was great to finally see her again. And we had an amazing night. And so we ate the pizza. We came home. We watched some videos on YouTube. And then I came up here to do this. And, you know what, I gotta say, I think this might be the best podcast I've ever done. You know, it's still nothing amazing. In terms of content, I think it might have been the best episode. It had a little bit of everything, and here I am gloating. I'm gonna tell you what, if I could consistently get the standard of my podcast to this level every week, you know, I think it could actually start maybe getting a few listeners. This is the episode I'm most proud of. I think I might tweet this one out. You know, I don't always do that, but we will see. We will see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I got to go back and edit that part out, so I got to talk a little longer. Thank you so much for listening. If there is someone out there who is listening to this, I'm trying my best to get better. Don't give up on me. Maybe show this to a friend and say, hey, this guy's terrible, or hey, this guy's really trying. Maybe you should give him a chance. I know it's on YouTube, so it's inconvenient, but, you know, life is what it is. That's going to be the podcast for this week. Wish me luck with my performance tomorrow, and have a good December. Have a fun December. Stay safe out there with the dark weather and all that. See you next week. Bye.
With the